to start recording in that way. Because last time I forgot to tell you to. Te digo que puedes empezar a grabar porque la última vez me olvidé de darte la seña.
I'm recording here also.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Finally, we ended the week of Pesach, and we went through all week eating, abstaining ourselves to eat leaven. This week was kind of interesting because I received questions from some of the different people about if I can eat this or can eat that. And to me, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to give answers to people because I am not a typical rabbi. I am a teacher, a moreh. And not to be a typical rabbi is I do not follow strictly the Mesorah or the traditions of our elders when they need to do with the Torah itself. Why? Because to follow a tradition for the sake of tradition, it will take us little by little with the time away from the truth. I always like to give this example as illustration about this newly couple when they just got wed and they're coming back from their honeymoon. And suddenly the newly wife was so excited that she was going to cook the first dish to her newly husband. And she said very lovingly to her husband, young man, she said, what would you like for me to cook this first day that we are going to be here at home? And he said very rapidly, he said, please cook this wonderful meat that your mother make us, and I love the meat. And she said, oh yes, I had a recipe and I can do it. And she immediately went through all these things and started cooking. And you know, a newlywed husband was behind her. Sometimes wouldn't let her to work too well, touching and, you know, very lovingly. And suddenly he starts seeing things that she's doing that are not right for him. They are in a very limited budget. And then he sees a beautiful piece of meat and she cut the four corners, and put aside the four corners and put only a little piece of meat in the pot. And he immediately jumped up and said, look how much we have paid for this meat and you're throwing the meat and I don't know why you are doing that. All this meat is good. And she said, well, I am following the recipe. That reminds me, Rhonda, she needs to follow the recipe. You know, doesn't matter if it's logic or not, it's the recipe. Okay? If you take those certain people out of the recipe, they don't know what to do. Well, she said, well, I'm going to call my mother. Why? And she called her mother, and her mother said, to be honest to you, my daughter, I don't know. I follow the recipe. But you know, my mother is here with me now, the grandmother. Let me ask her. And she said, oh, I remember why we needed to cut the four corners, say the grandmother. We were so poor that we had such a small pot that the whole meat wouldn't get in. Then we needed to cut the four corners. This is a good illustration about tradition. Tradition, tradition, tradition. Sometimes certain things were done or used for some kind of value by the moment. They needed to do certain things. They apply at that moment, but not necessarily will apply forever. You know, and our sages always trying to give us certain directions. He wanted to give us to do the best. You know, our dear sages, you know, in Pirkei Avot, in the first book at the end, verse 6, they basically tell us about that we need to put a fence around the Torah. you know. And why? Because they were so sure that if they give us the fence, you know, the Teriag is the acrostic for 613 laws, and the subject is the things that you build around. And they wanted to protect us from doing something wrong. You know, instead to teach us what we need to do, what don't we need to do, they make a fence. And religion keeps doing fences instead to understand the real meaning of the Word of God. The Word of God are principles that has, in the moment, has a meaning, but we need to look very deep inside what is trying to give it to the rest of the people. There are many things that happen at the moment of the Yetziah, the exit from Egypt. They were a young nation. They were learning now to trust and to follow the Creator. And they had a lot of things that have been in their minds through many, many years of brainwashing. Many of us, we have been brainwashed by our circumstances, by our situation, by our environment. And we have accepted things that they have told us because we were young, because we didn't know any better, and we accept it, or we trust on those who supposedly they know. And little by little, in many instances, we have learned that we were deceived, or they didn't tell us the whole truth. Well, in this case, in the Torah, the Creator was trying to lead the people of Israel out of this pagan culture. And little by little, he was extracting from them this paganism. And to do that, he was very wonderful and merciful Father. He didn't give a note and you need to do this only. It was a process, little by little by little, to give us self-understanding and to encourage us to do what is right. Sometimes will explain to us, sometimes only will say to us, do this. And maybe at this moment you won't understand the reasons. We arrive to this time, to this portion. We are now in the Vayikra HaSefer, in the book of Leviticus. And this is a book supposedly written in only 1 month. And it's about the Mishkan. It's about the korbanot, the offerings. It's about the kohenim, the priests, and it's about holiness or separation. And all these ideas need to be put in such a way in this short period of time after in the book of Shemot, in the book of Exodus, the Creator has been giving to the people of Israel certain instructions. But instruction by themselves are not good enough until at least we have an idea what we are trying to accomplish. If they tell you to go someplace and you don't know where you are going, you are acting only by faith. And that's what happened with Abraham Avinu. No? And then the process with the people of Israel is now I'm going to lead you closer than ever. In the situation of the Yetziah, the exit of Egypt cannot be repeated anymore. We had an experience, and the experience was the Creator was with us night and day. He was with us, and he was leading us to do certain things and take our attention from the past and to look at the present, to look and to go straight to the future. Now, in this portion, Shmini, start with on the 8th day. What is the 8th day? You need to go back to the chapter 8 at the end of this book to understand what was happening. The Creator was preparing the Kohanim, Aaron and his children, to do the right things the rituals in the Mishkan. Remember, what he wanted for the people of Israel was to focus on him, not anymore in the other pagan gods. It was all about focus. Look at me, see what I am trying to tell you. I'm going to absorb you in order that you start changing your way of thinking. How difficult it is for many of us to change our way of thinking. Sometimes we are such a hard head, even if they present to us in front of us the right things, you know, we insist to believe in what we have already believed. And nobody's going to change my mind because I am right and everybody else is wrong. That's pure pride. You know, you need to look and check and search for yourself and see if there is right or there is wrong. And then you make a decision. Well, in the 8th day, it's also very important, Shmini. You know, in Gematria, I call it the art of Judaism, to have a value in the numbers has an indication, a message. The number 7 had the idea of finishing. It's finished the job. The 8 had the idea of a beginning, a new beginning. Always the 8th day is a new beginning. It's very interesting, only to give you this illustration. For us Jewish boys, you know, we are circumcised at the 8th day. You know, until the 7th day before circumcision, if we die at that time, we die as a regular human being. But if we die after the 8th day, we die as Israel. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, this is the idea. Second is the number 8 is always the idea of starting again. The week ended, the Shabbat ended. We say Shabbat Tov, have a wonderful week. We start our new week. It's a new beginning, restarting and doing everything. Then the 8th day was the inauguration of the Mishkan. And that was so much joy after all that they had gone. And almost the Egel Sahab, the golden cow, or the golden, the little cattle, you know, the golden calf. There was something almost forgotten now. The Creator has already forgiven me. We are starting new, and the people of Israel were exciting about a new beginning. And Aaron has 4 children: Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. And his 2 most precious sons, the oldest, Nadab and Abihu. According to our sages, they were 21 and 20 years old, no married, single. And they decided to do their own things, you know, and they didn't go through the protocol, we call it, or to what the Creator has told Moshe and Aaron to do. And they decided to do their own thing. And they suffered the consequences. There are 1,000+1 explanations about why this happened. From drunkenness to disobedience to be holier than thou, better than others. You can find whatever explanations about that. And I won't talk about that because I had already talked about those things over and over again. But I want to bring you something from all of this. You know, many times we think we do whatever we want to do without consequences. No? There is a principle here that we need to look at very direct to us. You know, you need to be also respectful of others. You know, you need to think about that. You are not the center of the universe. You are not the last Coca-Cola in the desert. All of us were important, but we are not the center of the universe. It's the creator. And we need to follow certain ways, orders. For one, the society will be in order. Our creator is a God of order. And he has given to all of us different roles. Not all of us, we are identical. Before the eyes of the creator, all of us, we have the same value. But we are not the only ones in this world. Each one of us is unique. But we have the same value in the eyes of the creator. All of us. There is no one that is better than the other. Okay? I'm sorry. Believe me, no is my mother. But I cannot. Well, answer. And that all of us, we have the same value in the eyes of the creator. But we are, each one of us, we are uniquely made. And for that reason, there is an order. And the greatest thing for all of us as human beings is to find our place, and to find the reason why we are, what is the purpose of our life. And many of us, we go all our lives, still we cannot find it yet. But let me tell you, we have a reason. And you will be surprised how each one of us is important in our society. Right now, during this situation that we are living now with this COVID-19 or the CCP-19, whatever you want to call it, I prefer to call it CCP-19, why we are going through all of this. And we are learning about certain things about ourselves that we never knew before. And it's giving to us certain opportunities that maybe I need to do these things, or I can be more helpful in this way, or I can be better in this way. You know, we are finding ourselves. When the Creator is going to make all this statement about Israel, and Israel is going to be special. This is the reason that this book is also called the Book of Holiness, because it's a book about separation, to be set apart. You know, and many of us, we have given the term holiness a value more than what it really means. And sometimes we have put it in the wrong place. But what it really means to be holy is about to be in different status, in different order than the rest of the world. And sometimes we don't like it. If you read the whole parasha this week, is that chapter 11, but at the end, in chapter 11, you are going to find in 11:45 a very interesting statement that I'm going to explain to you many of the things that you would like to understand sometimes about areas that is so difficult. Because in this portion, beside the death of Nadab and Abihu that is so difficult to understand, comes the laws of what we can eat and what is not permissible to eat. You know, do you know that the word kosher or kashrut doesn't mention at all in this scripture? And then only one time is mentioned, and it's in the book of Esther. And only to mention that it's fit, or it's okay, or it's permissible. That's what it means. No? But if you go to chapter 11 of Vayikra, and let me read it to you, the final, okay? In verse 45, in chapter 11, you know, sorry,
Want me to read it?
Yes, please, if you are so kind.
For I am the Lord that brings you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You therefore shall be holy, for I am holy.
Exactly. Keep reading the.
This is the Torah of the beasts and of the bird and every living creature that moves in the waters and every creature that creeps upon the earth, to differentiate between the clean and the unclean, between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten.
Okay. Here, the words that are like holy, tahor, and tamei. And this has a preponderance in the religious life and has made this idea that I am better than you are because I am holy. I am better than you are because I am tahor, I am clean. I am better than you are because you are unclean, I am clean. And has created a notion totally contrary to what the Creator wanted to give it to us. And has created an attitude of pride. You know, it's very interesting. We just finished Pesach. But we are so inflated because we are Am Segula, the very special people. And we look ourselves to the rest of the world and we look at them down like they are creatures without value. And the only one that has value are those ones that we have received the Torah, or we have received the Ten Commandments, or we are the chosen people. It's just the contrary what the Creator is bringing to us. But how easy it is for us to take a position that is not ours. You know that sometimes there are people that worship more the man than the Creator. Outside Judaism, many people say because all these ultra-Orthodox people are dressed in black and white, and they say, oh, one time I was with a group of people, I was showing the city of Montreal. I was going with them, and we went through the area of Outremont, the area that were only ultra religious people, the ultra Orthodox people are, and all are dressed the same way. And one lady, I won't ever forget, we were going in the van, and she said, oh, look at their little rabbis, you know, because little rabbis, they were because all they were dressed like the same with the payos and, you know, black and white, even with little boys with their hats, you know, little rabbis. That was the picture. The problem is how they really behave and how they really work with the regular people. And you start feeling really bad. But as the people were putting in a pedestal. One time I went to speak to a place, and one person came to me and said, oh my God, I touched a real Jew, I touched it. Like he was going to be blessed because he touched me. This is the problem that my people have sometimes. Or we are putting a pedestal, or we are putting down to the lowest of the lowest places. That's when you put a person or people over everybody else. The Creator never asked that for Israel. The Creator wanted for Israel to be different to the rest of the nation because they had something that they needed to give to the rest of the world. This is when I understood Moshe Rabbeinu in his sense of being a leader of the people. They were Keshe Orech. You know, they were very hard-headed, but you say stiff-necked, no? And they were hard to lead them, to humble themselves, to be light to the world. Why me? Why not somebody else? I am to be I need to make more money with the girls I have than with anything else. And we want it or no, for more than prohibition that we have and for more separation we have with the rest of the world, we will know our egoism. We keep failing and failing and failing. You know, that you ask yourself, somebody say this to me, oh, I eat kosher, I am healthier, and I am better than anybody who doesn't eat kosher. I said, give me a break. That's pure religion. That's pure holier than thou. You're putting, first of all, ask any nutritionist, any religious man, they will tell you that it's nothing better with one kind of food than the other food in general. And do you think that the Creator will say only the Jewish people are going to eat healthy and the rest of the world, I don't care, die? That is the Creator, the Father of all the world, all the nations. Does He have His favorites? That's the problem about religion and human interpretation, to try to put yourself above others. Totally the contrary. A true Israelite is the one that humbles before the Lord and goes under His leadership. No pride, no stand up, not looking like I'm better than the others. Totally the contrary. We understand our calling, not to be over everybody, but help everybody to be better. That's when we are better than anybody else. And then comes something. The Creator gave us this to differentiate from the rest of the people, in order that they could see us and see that we're something special, to give a message. You know, as so much Rabbi, I had an experience with Yeshua, my great teacher, a great, great teacher. You know, before I came to know Yeshua the way I came to know him, I saw that he was a crazy guy that was talking and he wanted to change the world and he didn't know what he was doing. At the end, I saw that was an invention of many men. And later on, I had a real encounter in my spiritual life. And I started looking at him in a totally different way. I went to Christianity to find Yeshua. And the only thing that I found, sorry to tell you, was a caricature sometimes. I needed to search for myself, to look and go deep and try to find the real Yeshua, the real teacher, the real rabbi, the real prophet, the real Messiah, the one that has been sent to bring his people. And one thing that we never understood, especially my people, the Jewish people, because of what they have sold them to what Jesus Christ is, instead to talk about Yeshua, that they were put some kind of blind there in front of the eyes because they couldn't never ever see the true Yeshua. Finally, I was able to find it. And I was able to find it in a way that was very special. Interestingly enough, I studied with many dear Christian people. And I studied, and the only difference is, more I study about Yeshua, I was getting away from them farther and farther. Why? Because I start seeing him as who he really was, not as what they're trying to make him to be. And I discovered something very interesting. Sometimes you don't hear that too many times. But Yeshua never, ever, ever tried to convert anybody. And he never, ever tried to convert any Gentile for him. What he was doing was a call from the Creator, like a Moshe had a call from the Creator, to bring back his people, Israel, to be again Or Legoyim. And he started with the message of the 10 Commandments. Basically, he's doing his Sermon on the Mountain and all those things. And he started talking to us in a way that only the Jews, only the Israelites could understand him. You see, he didn't speak Goyish-like. He spoke Hebrew to his people. And he spoke about the Torah, about the Naviim, the prophets, about the writings, the Ketuvim. They understood that. And who were his greatest adversaries? The institutionalized religion.
Political.
You know, look at with whom he has problems. When you read the Habesorah, the New Testament, or the Gospel that they call it, there were two groups that he constantly has troubles. We, the Perushim or Pharisees, and with the Sadokim or Sadducees, the priesthood, the class. We call it the oligarchies, you know, the high people, because the unhereds, the regular people, all were listening to him. The one that opposed him, were the religious institution. Institutionalized religion. And they were the ones that concocted this idea that he was trying to bring a new government to replace the Romans. And that's why the Romans got into function, because they, at that time, they couldn't kill him. They didn't have the right to kill anybody, only the Romans. And that was all prepared. And still today, we have the same problem. If you do not belong to any institutionalized religion, you are a pariah. You are an outsider. You are a no good person. How you dare to talk against the institutionalized religion? The Creator, in this block, you would say, what has to do everything that I'm telling you with this block? Here, the Creator is trying to make us different to the rest. Not to be like them, totally the contrary. To show them there is a better way. But the institutionalized religion won't allow you to do that, because they depend on your fears, they depend on your taboos, they depend on all your ignorance and all those fears that you have about the afterlife, or you're going to die or something to happen, or they are going to take you out of their community, expel you, and you'll be isolated. Then they have you, literally, they have kidnapped you. And you live by fear. And you are more trying to do what they tell you to do instead to do what is right and what the Torah tells you. If we are going to go through this process about the reason that we are in this way, the reason that we cannot eat certain food of animals, and the reason that we need to be separated, all of that, believe me or no, is over. Because the separation is totally different. Now we are different to the world in a totally different way. It's not any longer by the uniform that we put, by the people that we're trying to grow, or by the food that we eat and the food that we don't eat, and we look at the other who eat the food that supposedly they don't need to do. We feel like we are better than the others, and we are judgmental. What the Creator wants for us is totally the opposite. Not to judge, because we have only one judge, but to bring people to the right truth of the Torah. And what is the right truth of the Torah? What the Torah really wants to teach us? What is the basic principle of the Torah? Nadab and Abihu, they try to make their own Torah. The Creator very clear say you don't act, you don't change, you don't do anything different. What He's trying to give it to us at this moment is that each one of us who has a role to play in society. And what is distinguished, we are distinguished by one thing and one thing alone, by our morality. You see, it's very easy to be all heart open and bleeding heart that you cry for the people, and love is going to hurt everybody. The only thing that you need to do is love, love, love. And this is the greatest lie that we give it to each other. But what we need to do, we need to be an example to others about our morality. Our yes need to be yes, and no need to be no. What is right, and what is wrong is wrong. The Ten Commandments gives us these basic things. Everything is there. It's very easy to talk, but the Creator doesn't want us as talkers. The Creator wants us doers. And one thing that Israel haven't lost yet, that is a people who gives more and helps others more than any other group in the world. We are made to give, not to receive. We are made to do things right, not to do it wrong. And when we do things wrong, we pay it. As the Creator say at the end, in the beginning of chapter 9, after Nadab and Abihu are dead, what did he say Moshe Rabbeinu to Aaron? The Creator, to go to those who are closer to Him, is more, is given to, is required more from them. And if you're a follower of the Creator, you can learn something from Nadab and Abihu. You cannot play a game holier than thou, because the Creator knows you exactly who you are. And what we need to do is more not so much about talking, but at doing. And there are many areas today in which we are behind because we are afraid, or because everybody now accepts it, or everybody's okay. I give you many examples that you have today. Today, there is not any longer value to morality. Our moral values have been stepped down, and we have stepped over them. There is no any longer that you can say certain things against certain situations because most of the people has accepted. You know, this is the problem about when we talk about democracy. No, the majority always is right. Totally the contrary. Most of the time, the majority is wrong. And that's the reason that we need to step out. Israel is very little in reference to the rest of the world. What is the mistake of Israel? That Israel wants to be like the other nations. And the Creator doesn't want them to be another nation. And each one of us, I was going to say each one of you, but I say each one of us, we cannot be any longer like the rest of people. Because if we become like the rest of the people, we have lost our identity as true Israel. And to be genuine is not easy. And sometimes we need to stand up for what is true. And even that is not popular. Even it's not fashionable. And even that other people don't think it's right. I already have my problem with the reference to Yeshua. I have been ostracized. I have been put down by people, have been insulted. I have been told that it's better for me to go to hell. That is a loving person who believes in Jesus Christ. That's the blessing they gave me. And you think because somebody insulted me, I'm going to change my mind? I want to change the way because I want to accept it by the world? To be part of God, to be the people of God, is a unique calling. And if you have that calling, it's not easier to live in this world. Not everybody is going to hug you or kiss you. And not everybody is going to accept your ideas. And especially when you talk the truth, they're going to jump over you. And when you say something that's wrong, for them, they're going to kill you. One day I was talking about this issue. Everybody is now very divided. It's about abortion. You know, the Torah tells you, you shall not kill. Science knows very clear when life begins. Abortion is murder. But it's not fashionable anymore. It's my body, said the woman. Who has the right over my body? I can do whatever I want to do with my body. And when you say to the woman, that person, fetus is inside you. That baby, no baby, fetus. And now, what the whole world has accepted? They talk about the fetus. Why? Because they humanize us. Do you know that all of us that we are here alive, we have been one time fetus? All of us. That we were not humans. How much longer are we going to become like an Adam and Behud, do whatever we want to do, thinking that in that way God is going to appreciate it? Instead, to do what really He is asking us to do, to be light to the world. And sometimes we're a little light, but in a very dark world, we can make a great illumination. It is my desire, sincere desire for all of us that we trying to find a role, our calling, and what the Creator wants for us, because each one of us, we are unique. Like I always tell everybody, and you must be tired to hear me, my favorite is Psalm 139. We have been made in a marvelous way. Each one is special. Then you and I, we're special. Now we need to know in which areas the Lord wants us to be special and to do our best. Shabbat Shalom.